this is Clay Nelson Live Pounds Hour, ex-contractor of a studio putting up signage. And we're just absolutely having a great time talking about full and complete communication. Life is good.
Wow, we have actually a caller on the phone. I want to make sure she gets on the air because she has a great question for you. Who do we have on the phone today?
Hi, this is Connie.
Hi, Connie.
Hi, Connie.
Hey, Clay. What suggestions, or do you have any suggestions on how to help our kids deal with fear when it comes to communicating with adults? And just as an example, I've got some children in middle school, in the 3rd and the 5th grade, and there are times where I ask them about something that's happened at school, and I say, well, did you talk to your teacher about it? No. Well, why not? Because I was afraid to.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you help them?
Yeah, so middle school, so let me get this straight. So middle school is what, 7, 8, 9-year-old range?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you'll find it, at least with when my kids are in their 7th, 8th, and 9th year, they're pretty much, their input computer is really rocking. And they're also just starting to get to a place in their life where they're very worried about what somebody else thinks. Mm-hmm. And they also think they're supposed to know everything. So when they don't know what to do, they don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, when they don't know what to do, they don't know what to do with it. So the best thing to do is to set a precedence in the household that everything that happens during the day, it's okay, not have to, but it's okay to discuss when they come home. Mm-hmm. And I call that a family meeting. Mm-hmm. All right? And my kids, or Susan and I with my kids, we always had family meetings, and we always talked about just about everything. And I always told the kids, Mom and Dad are having an argument or whatever, and we're not getting a divorce, and it's not your fault, and you don't have to listen if you don't want to. But if you want to sit here and see how we work it out, you're welcome to. And the kids always took front row center every time because they wanted to see who was going to win, But out of it came, kids learned that they can communicate. The family, the home core of the family, anything can be discussed. Mm-hmm. It's like nowadays, kids don't know that their parents will come and get them if they drink too much or they do something they shouldn't. Our kids know that no matter what, I'm not going to beat them up. I'm not going to yell at them. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to come and get them home safe wherever they are. And they learn that by, full and complete communication at home.
So how do you carry that through to adults that aren't in their home?
Tell the story just like I did.
Okay.
Absolutely tell the experience. Like just say from first person, like I said earlier in the show, explain what you do and what you're committed to with children. And guess what? And then you say to the adults, works every time, okay, is say, oh, and by the way, were you ever a child once? And they'll look at you like, boy, yeah. No, a lot of them will go silent. They'll have to think about it.
Well, I bet that does get a lot of people to thinking.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Great.
And the truth is, very few people fully communicate. It's why we're doing 2 shows. I mean, it's the first time in 54 shows, 54 weeks of being on the radio, that we've done 2 consecutive shows on the same topic. It's because so many people called in and said, hey, can you expand on that show? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. How do we make sure that it's okay to say what you're present to, no matter what you're present to? That's really what we're talking about here.
And you feel safe doing it.
And feel safe doing it. Yeah. And just think, if we could get a youngster to feel safe, then maybe, just maybe, we could get an adult to feel safe. You got
Let's go. Yeah, great.
Okay, good. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's actually a great quote here, speaking of people standing up for themselves. It's Martin Luther King Jr., and it says, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I read that probably 5 times before I really understood it.
Yeah.
All right? Now listen to what he says. It says, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. In other words, when we quit talking about the things that matter, our lives start ending. So it also means we are the only person that has a say in how our life turns out. We are it. There isn't anybody else. Okay? So think about this. If that's the case, and if what we need is full and complete communication, what do you think we ought to do? How about talk?
Communicate fully.
Communicate fully, right on. Yeah. Okay, so now step number 1 is, wait a minute here. Where's my sheet? Step number 1 is Full and complete communication it's all about
Stop and think about who you are being.
stop and think about who you are being. All right. What's the second one?
Straight talk.
Straight talk. What's the third one?
Let's see. That would be
Don't assume anybody
Don't
or anything.
assume. Right on. So step number 1 is what again? Say it again.
stop and think about who you are being.
Okay. Step number 2,
Straight talk.
straight talk. Step number 3,
Don't assume
don't
anyone
assume.
or anything.
That's right. Now, step number 4 is make sure that those you are communicating with clearly understand, absolutely clearly understand what you've communicated. So I'm going to do it again. Step number 1 is stop and think about who you are being. Step number 2 is straight talk or talking straight. Step number 3 is don't assume anything or anybody. Step number 4 is make sure that that which you have communicated actually got communicated, actually got over to the listener. Now, step number 5, and this is a good one. I want you to think about this now. Step number 5 is be an effective listener. Now, how many times have you listened to someone but you didn't hear them? How many times have you been on the phone and people are yakking up a storm, but you were paying attention to something you saw outside? Like, I got to tell you, I've got a beautiful office in Santa Barbara, and my office window looks out over to a beautiful valley where I see all kinds of people and all kinds of things going on. And I'll be coaching somebody, and I'll have to say to them, "Excuse me, but I just checked out. I didn't hear a word you just said, so could you please start over again?" And instead of trying to catch up, not saying that I checked out, and just faking it, I just tell them the truth. I've never lost a client by doing that. I've never had anybody said, "Well, you should be listening to me all the time." And the truth is, as human beings, we check in, we check out, we check in, we check out. Or how about this? You're on a long-distance phone call. Really important. You got to go like a house of fire, and you have to say all kinds of things. Okay? And what happens is in the telephone call, you get to the end of the call, you hang up, and you go, "Darn, didn't say what I really wanted to say." So what do? Right? You call them back. You don't sit there and go, "I wish I had a." You get back on the phone and you call them back, and you get full and complete communication. So no, to be an effective listener, you have to be present, totally present. What's that mean to be present? Now, think about this. If you're driving in a car, just listen to me. But if you're in an office listening to me right now, just stand up from your desk and look straight down and tell me what you see. Your feet, right? What would it be like if your head could be where your feet are all the time? Now think about this. How many times have you come home, your feet are at home, but your head's not? And your significant other's going, "Pardon me, knock, knock, anybody in there? Hello? Like you to be here with your feet." Can you hear that?
Got to be where your feet
Yeah,
are, otherwise
so-
your head and your feet will end up on
That's
the
right.
floor.
Or how about this? To be an effective listener, you can't be hooked by what the person's wearing, what you smell, the perfume they're wearing, or the aftershave they're wearing, or what happens if you really want to listen to the friend that your son has brought home, but he has spiked green hair, or this giant nose ring? What do you think about that? Or a tattoo that goes down his neck and you have no idea where it ends. So think about that. So there's all kinds of things that can get in the way of full and complete communication. One of them is not listening. Got it? So checking out things that, quite frankly, get your attention off what the person's saying. There's all kinds of things that get in the way. What about a noise or a surprise or a scream or a doorbell or a phone ringing or whatever, and you just check out? Okay, you just check out. So now, I got to go on. Boy, today's show is going boom. So I got to go. I'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour on KZSB AM 1290. So get on back.